Hello and welcome to Toad Rolls Dice, where it's day 11 for our Grotmas Calendar. And they're finally here, the poster boys of every edition of Warhammer 40,000. Probably since 2nd, maybe even Rogue Trader. But it's time for the Space Marines to appear and save humanity. The pen is mightier than the power sword. There isn't anything mightier than the power sword, except a power fist. Thunderhammer, maybe, but you're kind of pushing it at that point. Anyway, let's get into this one. Wield the devastating power of the warp, solely on behalf of the Emperor, mind you. With today's Grotmas Calendar detachment for the mighty Space Marines, the Librarius Conclave, who are all getting books for Grotmas this year. You can't tell them that. That's not on. That's a cool shot. I love the stuff going on in the background, but it's focused on the brand new Terminator Librarian model. And a brand new Terminator, but it's such a nice model. It really is, even in blue. The psychic Space Marines who make up the ranks of the chapter's Librarius usually stand aside from their battle brothers, many of whom find their mastery of the occult disturbing. Despite their misgivings, no Space Marine doubts the might of their librarians. On rare occasions, generally as a response to demonic invasions or the machinations of Xenopsychus, a group of librarians may accompany a hand-picked task force to battle. When leading squads of transhuman warriors into a fight, this conclave will enhance their battle brothers' already supreme strength, speed, and endurance, with channeling empiric energies, confound their enemies with illusionary deceptions, or obliterate the foe in blazing torrents of flame. They can wield psychic disciplines to suit the peril at hand, choosing one discipline each battle round. Biomancy augments your troops' prowess. Divination guides them along the truest path to victory. Pyromancy empowers their weapons. Telekinesis shields them, and telepathy lets them cut through confusion and illusion. This all sounds kind of fun. It's like taking a leveled up mage in your D&D party. The enhancements and stratagems have enhanced effects depending on which discipline is active. For example, Celerity lets a unit advance and charge, but with Biomancy active, it lets a unit fall back and charge, while Fiery Shield helps your units avoid attacks in melee. Pyromancy active, it also makes enemy weapons hazardous. Ooh, that sounds really horrible. Grotmas is all about family. Even your nefarious estranged stepbrothers, so that's why the Chaos Space Marines are dropping in unannounced for tomorrow's Grotmas Calendar. If you're puzzled about a present, you can't go wrong with spiky gold trim. Chaos Space Marines will be fun. I like Chaos Space Marines. Okay, so off the back of this, I like the sound of it. It's not going to be anywhere near as good as they're making it out to be, probably. I like the sound of this. I like the idea of just harnessing librarians and their powers, because they're not really shown what they can do in current 40k rules. Let's have a look at this one. Enhance. That's too much enhance. Okay, so the Librarius Conclave. Detachment rule. At the start of the battle round, select one of the following psychic disciplines. Until the end of the battle round, that psychic discipline is active, and its effects apply to all Adeptus Astartes Psyker units from your army. Biomancy discipline. Add 2 to the movement characteristic of models in this unit. Divination discipline. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1 and reroll a wound roll of 1 for a turn. A turn or a phase. It's a battle round. Okay. For a battle round, that's quite nice. Pyromancy discipline. Each time a ranged attack made by a model in that unit targets an enemy within 12 inches, improve the armor penetration characteristic of the attack by 1. Okay. There's little bits of all of the detachments here by the looks of it. Telekinesis discipline. Each time a ranged attack targets this unit, subtract 1 from the strength characteristic of that attack. That's gross. And telepathy discipline. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack, you can ignore any or all modifiers to that weapon's attack skill or ballistic skill characteristics, and or any or all modifiers to the hit roll. So you can't just sit in one of these, it's one of these per turn, but there's some really nice things in there. Enhancements. Prescience, 25 points. Adeptus Astartes Psycho model only, excluding Terminator models. Once per turn, when an enemy ends a normal, advance, or fall back move within 9 inches of the bearer's unit, the bearer's unit can make a normal move to D6 or up to 6 inches instead if the divination discipline is active in your army. It's nice. I think there's better, but it's nice. And why would you put that on a Terminator? Terminators don't fear anything. Celerity, 30 points. Adeptus Astartes Psycho model only. The bearer's unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. And if Biomancy discipline is active for your army, it is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. Yeah, it's not flashy, but it does exactly what it says on the tin. It's quite nice for movement. Obfuscation for 20 points. Adeptus Astartes Psycho model only. Enemy units cannot use the fire overwatch stratagem to shoot at the bearer's unit. And if the telepathy discipline is active in your army, and if the telepathy discipline is active for your army, the bearer's unit cannot be targeted by ranged attacks unless the attacking model is within 18 inches. Nice. One unit can't be overwatched. I'm not that fussed about they can't be targeted within 18 inches. Just turning off the overwatch stratagem for a unit, that's quite strong. And finally, Fusillade, 15 points. Adeptus Astartes Psycho model only. Ranged weapons equipped by models in the bearer's unit have the anti-monster 5-up and anti-vehicle 5-up abilities, and sustained hits 1 ability if the pyromancy discipline is active for your army, and add 6 inches to the range characteristic of these weapons if the telekinesis discipline is active for your army. Okay, that's double dipping, I like it. Already that's got more use. I mean, anti-monster, anti-vehicle 5-up, is it bad? Well, I don't think it's bad. There's nothing that's immediately jumping out at me, but it all seems quite nice. And all this stuff, the disciplines seem quite nice. So, stratagems now, they are all strategic ploys. Never seen that before. And they're also all 1 CP. One of them is Armour of Contempt, so when we get to that, we'll just skip over that because everybody knows what that does. But first one, Sensory Assault. When command phase, target 1 Adeptus Astartes Psyche unit from your army. Effect. Select 1 enemy unit that is within 18 inches and visible of 1 Psycho model in your unit. Until the start of your next turn, that enemy unit is pinned. When a unit is pinned, subtract 2 from the unit's move characteristic and subtract 2 from charge rolls made for it. In addition, if the telepathy discipline is active in your army, that unit must make battle shock test, subtracting 1 from the result. I think that's just all around good, isn't it? Regardless of if you're in the telepathy discipline, arguably telepathy discipline is the worst bit. Next up, Armour of Contempt, we'll skip that. Stratagem 3, Fiery Shield. When fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets, target 1 Adeptus Astartes infantry or Adeptus Astartes mounted unit from your army that is within 18 inches of 1 or more friendly Adeptus Astartes Psycho models, and that was selected as the target of 1 or more of that attacking unit's attacks. Effect. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets your unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll, and if the pyromancy discipline is active for your army, weapons that target your unit have the hazardous ability. That's gross. So there's not actually a lot in this discipline that I think is incredible. I think it's good so far, but that one stratagem, that's absolutely gross. I love it, but it feels very strong. Especially with the subtract 1 to the hit roll. Like, just as a base, -1 to hit is pretty good at 1 CP, but then making enemy weapons hazardous? Oof. Iron Arm. When fight phase, target 1 Adeptus Astartes infantry unit from your army that is within 18 inches of 1 or more Adeptus Astartes Psycho models from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase. Effect. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in your unit, or add 2 if the Biomancy discipline is active in your army. So +2 strength if Biomancy is active, +1 strength if not. That's just overall quite nice. Yeah, I think that's very strong. Assail. When your shooting phase, target 1 Adeptus Astartes Psyche unit from your army that is eligible to shoot. Effect. Select 1 enemy unit within 18 inches of and visible to 1 or more Psycho models in your unit, excluding units that have the Lone Op ability, and roll 6d6, adding 1 to each result if the telekinesis discipline is active for your army. For each 4-up, so if telekinesis is active, each 3-up, that enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. So potentially 6 mortal wounds I mean, again, that's just strong. And you could use that regardless of what discipline you're in. It's still good. On a 4-up, 50-50 shot of doing some mortal wounds, that's still strong. Yeah, this is very tricksy, but the tricksiness is very much, we're gonna hurt you real bad. Power of the warp, I guess. And finally, Prescient Precision. When you're shooting phase, target one Adeptus Psycho unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. Effect. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, that attack has the lethal hits ability and the ignores cover ability as well if the divination discipline is active for your army. Ignores cover is nice, but just 1 CP, here's lethal hits. That's really nice. Overall, there's some really nice stuff in here, and I think it's probably balanced by the fact that it has to be on Psychers. I'm just having a quick look in the app now. So we have, this is on Dark Angels, so there is always going to be at least one chapter specific Psyker. Well, no, let's take the chapter specific stuff out. You have 3 different Psykers, the Librarian in Phobos, and the Librarian in Terminator. You can take each one of those 3 times if you want. You would definitely take a Psyker with a squad of whatever variant of Terminators you can take, because that would just be a horrible sort of middle of the board controlling, almost not necessarily like on Overwatch as the stratagem, but keep it on the battlefield and being able to dish out these 18-inch range visibility things and a bit of deep strike and stuff as well. You could have your normal Librarian who runs around with, so Assault Intercessors, Desolation, Devastator, Hellblaster, Infernus, Intercessor, Sternguard Vets would be a good shout, and Tactical Squad. And their ability is just to give models a 4-up invul, and they have 4-up feel no pain against psychic attacks for models in that unit. Bog Standard Librarian is very strong. And at 65 points, you can have 3 of them running around. And then the Libby and Phobos, you can run around with your Phobos units, but he's nasty. They all have the Psychic Hood, which is the 4-up feel no pain against Psychic, but he means that they have stealth and they can't be targeted by range attacks unless the attacking model is within 12 inches, which is just, it's strong anyway, but once you throw some of this stuff in, okay. And then while we're here, we may as well look the abilities for the Libby and Terminator armor. Models in that unit are equipped with sustained hits 1. So Libby and Terminator armor with 10 Terminators with special weapons and things. Sustained hits 1, pop this CP. Then they also get lethal hits and ignores cover, maybe. Any of them can pop Fiery Shield. Assail is just nice if you need to get a couple of wounds through. Strong Arm, again, works with most things. +1 strength, +2 potentially. Sensory Assault is nice, basically pinning a unit. There's some really nice stuff here. I always like to take a Librarian just so that they're represented in my chapter. I don't know if I would run this, because I think the core Space Marine Codex, and you can disagree with me if you want, I think the core Space Marine Codex has some really nice detachments in there, but this is a different way of playing, but it feels similar to, it's a bit of Gladius, it's a bit of all the others. Once per battle round, you can just have stuff. Okay, so I may have got a bit excited. These only affect the Psychers and the units that the Psychers are attached to. So you would want to go heavy on Psyker to get the most out of this. That's the big restriction in this. That's probably what balances it out a little bit. I like it. I'm like I say, I like Psychers, I like Librarians, but there's some fun stuff in here. I can't. It might not feel necessarily like a different way of playing because you got to keep tabs on all of your battle round stuff. But there's some real juicy things in here. I think this is quite nice, and it's different. It's not necessarily better, but it's different to how Space Marines play at the minute, which is what we're aiming for with this, I think. Yeah, Librarius Conclave is good. I don't think it's Grey Knights. I think Grey Knights that's still the best detachment that I think we've seen. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like in here. I don't know if there's much to love, but there's a lot to like in here, and there's a lot of mess around things with the stratagems and stuff. That Fiery Shield is just horrible though. You would be popping that as much as you can. Let me know what you think in the comments on this one. Is it actually that good? Let me know. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.